What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Train. As usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. And as you can see, we got another newcomer here, my guy Josh. Josh, what's up with you, man?
What's going on? Glad to be here. Glad to be here and part of the talking conversation.
Appreciate you. And as y'all can see, y'all know him, you love him. You see him damn near every time you come on the video. Chris, how's everything with you, baby?
What's good, bro? How you, fam?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Although I guess I can complain if I really want to talk about it. Because you know, I done heard some rumblings about Bron possibly retiring. Like, I don't know how I feel about that one. And I bring up Bron just because, well, we've all had some interactions with him. And we were kind of talking about him earlier, so I figured why not talk about him a little bit. And this is kind of an ad hoc conversation. Josh, how do you feel about LeBron James's tenure with the Lakers? Real quick, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think it's been a success from a grand scheme of things. When you look at what he's accomplished in other places, it might not look the same success story, but in a sense, I think he's had success in Los Angeles.
Okay. All right. Chris, you feel the same way, or you feel differently?
Hell no.
Okay. Would you because would you say he's so it's unsuccessful? Like it's unsuccessful. Or is it just like so it's okay? I was trying to see if there was like another word we could
Nope.
use. Okay, why would you say it's been unsuccessful?
I understand he been injured most of the time since he was there. Get it, cool. You was like on the latter parts of your quote unquote Hall of Fame a career. Like me and Trey was talking about before, it's a big difference when you playing in Cleveland, playing in Miami, and when you put on that purple and gold. You got to take your game to a whole nother level because you got Hall of Famers jerseys that's been in the Raptors way before you was even born. And you want to tell us that you got one, I don't care, a bubble chip, a trophy, whatever the case may be. You gave us that. I understand it was COVID, cool, fine, dandy, whatever. But we was playing with no fans. And you may probably have like family members there, cool, fine, great. But you did not came to LA, and literally gave us a trophy baby chip. Am I gonna am I gonna clown him on it? Absolutely not. But you should say that, oh, like I'm here just for other businesses. But if you want to say, oh, like I I want to play for the Lakers, bro, you have not showed us nothing that we actually want to give you credit for. So I would say it's been absolutely lame. Absolutely.
Okay. I don't want to be as harsh. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Braun fan. I got my guy Kobe on the screen on the shirt. I don't want to say it's been successful. I don't want to say it's been completely unsuccessful too. Because, we did get to the Western Conference Finals after having two 5-game losing streak this season. I had a couple question marks about the squad. I never really wanted Braun to come to the team at the age he did. I didn't like the aging superstar. I didn't like that factor. Kind of got a glimpse of it with Kobe a little bit, but he gave us 5 rings, so you cool with it. You can accept a couple losing seasons. Um, for the folks that say he had a successful season, a successful tenure with the Lakers because of the bubble chip, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we got. I just want to let you know this is really what we got. Okay. Like, this is what I want to see. Okay. This is my boys, though, my Blue Devils, but this is what I really wanted to get. But again, for the record, this is what he gave us. So I appreciate it. The chips is fire, though. But that's why I say, I'm kind of borderline. Having a participation trophy is cool. Still recognize the Celtics as the highest championship organization with 17, and we still got 16. But it's not. It's fine. It's fine. But I don't want to say completely unsuccessful. I would say it could have been better than what it was. Advertising wise, I felt like we were going to do a lot, but he didn't live up to the hype as much. But that's also injuries. It's, here nor there. It's cool. It's fine. I just wanted to ask that question because we did talk about Bron, and we all shared in him being on the team. Some were more successful than the others, but he also had D Wade to help lead him. So, but on to the next topic. On to the next topic. Actually, let me get y'all thoughts on this. What was your biggest takeaway from the 2023 NBA season?
Go ahead, Josh.
Shoot,
We already know. We already know what you want to say. We already know what you want to say.
So I'll say the NBA season for 2023. It started out with with a hard punch with Draymond and Jordan Poole. So we already had a season that was kind of looking interesting in the first place. But looking at a lot of different teams, you had a lot of people were talking about Milwaukee being the early front runner, Boston, Golden State. Nobody really talked about Sacramento at all. And I wrote that team off early. And they had, I think, one of the most impressive, regular seasons for that organization. They had a streak of, I think, 40 years or something like that without being, or 20 or something like that without being in the playoffs.
Yeah,
It was a long drought, and I think somebody else now has it. And so it was a great season for them. The Lakers starting out 2-10 and then making it to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, this season really was unpredictable. You couldn't have told me the Heat would have been almost one game away from not making the playoffs, and then they end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. And not even just that, the NBA Finals. So I think a lot of teams that a lot of people wrote off, kind of, they either performed well or they performed better. A team that I had looked for to perform better, but just has not been getting there, is the New Orleans Pelicans. I expect them to be pretty good, and especially with Zion, his inability to maintain on the court, and his off-court issues that he's dealing with now, it's just questionable about how come they're not just even in the playoffs to begin with. They're in the play-in games, but they should really be competing in the playoffs. And I looked for them to be a team like Memphis, who can get to certain points of being competitive in the playoffs. But I would say a word to describe this season, um, not unreliable, but just you couldn't guess what happened next. Whoever wrote the script from this season really did well.
Okay. All right. So the script writers did a good job with unpredictability. Okay.
Yes.
Shout out to
Unpredictable. That's the word.
Okay.
Unpredictable.
Shout out to the NBA script writers then. Chris, what was your biggest takeaway from the NBA 2023 season?
If you could have told me that Joker went through 2 7-footers, KD and Booker, Bron and the Lakers, Bam, Jimmy, and Miami Heat, you really would have to slap yourself in the face. What Denver did this year, nobody would ever predicted that. And for the road that Denver did in the playoffs, you were never expecting that.
Okay. I'll give you this. Yeah, it was a little. I'm not gonna say it was weird or it came left field because they've been a good team. They were injured last season. They got to the playoffs, so you saw Jokic was dominant and he was capable of sustaining that dominance. It was just about his teammates helping him out essentially. So, but I didn't. Well, it's funny. It's like I did actually put money on the Nuggets last October to win it all, and I put $10 down, and I cashed out when they was tied 2-2 with the Suns. So like, it hurts a little bit. But yeah, you didn't really foresee this Nuggets thing. I do want to say though, Josh, I did actually say on the show a couple times, I do got a little love for this Kings team. They might be slept on. So like my boy was talking about like, nah, they don't deserve this, that, and the third. Like they haven't done this. And I'm like, I hear that, I do, but this Kings team is a little bit different. Like
Yeah.
Aaron Fox is smooth. Like Sabonis ain't bad. This was a redemption. bonus. So, but
Yeah.
it won't a lot. Like they started out real nice. They didn't deal with injuries, so anything could have gone left at any point in time. But yeah, I
Mhm.
did like the Kings though. But both of those were surprised. My biggest takeaway was I feel like the international players might like the NBA a little bit more than the American players. Like they're more professional. They
Mm.
take it more seriously, and I think it kind of shows on the court a little bit too. Like if you look at the MVPs, right? It's been the international players lately, and I'm not trying to say American players should be better than international players, but like the way we carry ourselves, like
Yeah.
Jokic, for example, I don't see him complaining as much as Jason Tatum does. So like I see us caring more about the optics, more about the off court stuff, as opposed to the on court stuff. You look at the international stars, I haven't heard anything about Jokic. Worst thing I heard was, yeah, he don't really care to do a parade. He want to go back home. You know what I'm saying? That's the worst thing I heard. Like meanwhile, we got Ja. We got the 2019 class favorite, like highlighted with guns and buns. Like, come on,
And shoot him.
come on
And
now,
shoot him.
bro.
And shoot him.
You know
And
what I'm saying? Like, come on now, baby. So, like, yeah, I think the international players like the NBA more, or at least appreciate it more than the American players. And that should change. That should change because talent wise, y'all can battle it out, but
Yeah.
appreciation of the NBA, I like to see that a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But we will see. We will see how it comes. Because we got a few things to talk about with this NBA off season. Got a few things to talk about with this NBA all season. Josh, since your team was just in the finals, and y'all do have some possibilities this off season. For those of y'all who don't know, he's a Miami Heat fan. Who's your biggest acquisition? And we hear Damian Lillard, but is it Dame or is there somebody else that you personally want to get?
A lot of people might call me crazy. Damian Lillard is a great player. Love his game. But I think the Miami Heat has been thriving on, and you can look from top down on just work ethic. And I'm not saying Damian Lillard is not a great work ethic type of player, but when you look at this roster, you had a bunch of players who were just ready to work. They were just, in the press conference, we don't care if you pick us. You had Caleb Martin. Nobody knew who he was pretty much until the playoffs started. You had what's his name? Highsmith. You had what's his name? Cody Zeller came in at sometimes. Duncan Robinson. And when you first heard of the Miami Heat team, you would have thought Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, or even Tyler Hero or Bam Adebayo too. But I have become a strong advocate of Gabe Vincent. I've liked his game. He's an undersized point guard, but he can shoot the ball. He can handle it well. He can shoot consistent free throws. I personally would not be mad if we didn't go after Damian Lillard. He would be a huge acquisition for the team. I just don't want to give up too much that jeopardizes our bench as well. Personally, I want us to go after or develop Jovic. We drafted him last year.
yes,
I know we just got Jaime from UCLA as well,
I like him.
who will be a
I
good
like him. I
asset for
like
us
him.
too. So if we were to go after Dame, I don't want to give too much up. Like I said, if we can re-sign Caleb Martin, work on what we have now, I'm completely fine with that. Pat Riley knows what he needs to do. Eric Spoelstra, one of the better coaches in this league right now. I can't really say if we don't get Damian Lillard, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna tweet like Bron. It must be me, or it must be how I am. But I think we need to develop more in-house and just compete with what we got rather than just trying to go out and get a big-time all-star. Because sometimes, as you've seen, when you go out and trade for a big-time all-star and they don't produce, now they're on the trading block again and again and again.
Yeah. Now I think Dame's contract makes that a little tricky. Plus, y'all do have a good little team in place. Don't get me wrong. I think Dame fits that
Oh,
team and
yeah.
definitely takes pressure off someone like Jimmy Butler too. But I mean, Dame, Jimmy, Bam. I don't know. Actually, I mean, sometimes I be feeling like that might be a little nice contending squad. But I get you too. You need depth in this league, especially with the amount of talent that's developing as well too. I can't definitively say those three players are going to get me over the hump. Like people are already saying, Bradley Beal and them not going to get you over the hump, and that's 4 All-Star potential
Yeah.
players right there. So
Yeah.
I do get that as well. You said
Yeah.
so you said improve Jovic, or pretty much just improve the team, so player
Yeah,
development.
yeah, and I
Okay.
think when you look at the past teams who've had a great championship run and won the championship, they
Mhm.
have star players, but they're always able to counter anything with their bench. You look at who had Denver winning this year. When their starters were out, their bench kept up, and I mean that's something that talked about with the Lakers series. And when Miami was playing them, their bench did solid effort. They had Christian Brown. I think he had 10 points off the bench one game and then had 8. It was just, he played very small, but he maximized his time. You had Bruce Brown as well. So it's like a lot of these teams, even last year, Jordan Poole coming off the bench, giving you 20, 19, 18 sometimes. There's people coming off the bench that's really like being pivotal in these postseason series. So I think the key to winning a championship now is developing a good bench.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta develop your whole team end of day, because I mean you can rely on stars, but like stars also do fall short at some point in time, and these other teams
Yeah.
got stars of their own, so you gotta always have a good team in place. A good bench always goes a long way. Um, okay, okay. If there was one player that you say you could get though, because again Jimmy is getting older now. I
Yeah.
mean, Bam looked all right. Bam looked
Uh,
cool. But amongst the NBA ranks, I don't have Bam at my top 10.
mhm,
I gotta see if I put him top 15, like
mhm.
maybe. But is there a person in mind that you would like to say, okay, I could take that chance on them, and we might be able to like get rid of some of the bench players and it works out. Like maybe a Paul George, maybe you want to get a little like frisky with Kawhi, maybe you want to take Braun off our hands. Like who is there anybody in the NBA that you say could be realistic?
I see. The thing is, I feel like Miami's biggest problem came with battling in the center position from sometimes. They did good with Boston since Boston had no really good center. They had old
Oh,
Al Horford, but
yeah.
he's up in age. Robert Williams, he can't shoot, so it's not like we had to go against a center that can stretch the floor. I mean, I would love for us to go out and get a center that can stretch the floor or play, perimeter defense. Bam is a good player, but he's a small center. That's why I'm saying if we could develop Jovic, he's a 6'11", 7-footer almost. He
Mhm.
can shoot, spread the floor, he can move laterally. But if we were to go out and get a big name player in the market, I think Damian Lillard would fit the scheme that I would want us to. He could stretch the floor. We could have somebody like Gabe Vincent maybe coming off the bench backing him up if we get him under contract. But I think if that were to be the one player, that would probably be Damian Lillard.
Interesting. Okay, okay. Let me ask you this. What if there was a way where y'all could just get Miles Turner? You get a young big to pair with Bam, and you get him to kind of help out with Jimmy too on the defense. Now Jimmy can worry about more perimeter play. You funnel him down to the interior where you got Bam and Miles Turner, and then you give up a player like Jovic who actually might fit the timeline more so with someone like a Therese Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin because they are younger players, and you now also save on cap space. If y'all can make that sort of deal happen, would that be more appealing than a Damian Lillard?
I'm hesitant to do that because I've seen what Jokic has done, and I'm hopeful that Jovic can do the same thing somehow, some way. I mean, Miles Turner is a good big, but Um, I'm not too sold on how he could help our team because I know Bam he can move laterally. That's not the
Yeah,
problem. The problem is we need shooting on the perimeter from a center as well.
but Miles
Miles Turner he
shooting
can stretch the
problem
floor a
too.
little bit, but it kind of be having a little bit of Bam and Miles Turner on the court at the same time, that a
Mhm.
lot of people would try to attack that pick and roll, get a guard on that, and kind of we would have to either rotate and switch or something about that. I wouldn't have much problems with Bam. Miles Turner would be a little bit more questionable. But I mean, Miles Turner it could possibly work, but like I said, if it's up to me, I'm trying to develop more in house than trying to go out and see what we need to get.
Okay, okay. I see. I don't be thinking about y'all defense. One, I think Turner would be all right enough to move them puppies, but two, y'all be using that zone a lot. Like I got a Celtics
Yeah,
fan that really be complaining about y'all zone. So
yeah.
y'all zone be working on him. He be causing him fit. So I think you could, but I also get it too. You bring Dame, you get that
Yeah.
that star power. Again, from a contract perspective, man, this brother's about to be like 35, getting
Yeah.
60 mil. That's
And that's
disgusting. Miles Turner is 26, about to
Mhm.
get like 28 or something like that, or 18. Like I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what?
And I think that's off his contract extension he had too.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah, Damian Lillard, he has a huge contract, and I mean, that's pretty much the same reason why Bradley Beal went for such a low price as he did. You know, he has his injury history. His contract is just
yeah,
outrageous. I think it was like he had the only player who was active that had a no trade clause,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's making really, really much, and he hasn't even been healthy the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, no, it's been he's been robbing me. Like I picked him up for fantasy basketball this year, and it hurts
Mm,
so much. It hurts so much, dude.
yeah.
But I mean, y'all should have a solid off season. Y'all should have a solid off season. Um, the Celtics, since we on the subject, are you worried about the Celtics because they did pick up a big that you said y'all haven't had to face, and I'd like to assume y'all have to face the Celtics again because it's not like they going anywhere. The Bucks still got to figure out what they're doing with Middleton and whatnot. So I mean, right now it looks like it's you and the Celtics. I mean, how you feeling? Are the Celtics giving you some worry?
I mean, the Celtics are always going to be a team that's competitive and competing in the East. Personally, for me, I liked how they got rid of Marcus Smart because I felt like Marcus Smart for them is an energizer bunny. He's really, I think, the heart and soul of that team. Even though he's not the leader, he's not the most scoring. I think he's their captain.
Mm,
You lose somebody who's an emotional leader, somebody who leads in the locker room, somebody who plays defense, can pick up. He just won the Defensive Player of the Year last year, and now they got rid of him. Now they get Kristaps Porzingis, and I have not seen him produce. You know, we could date this back to his New York days. He hasn't been healthy for the Wizards. When they got him, he wasn't as productive when they thought Luca and him would be a nightmare with that pick and roll. So, I mean, I can't say I'm worried about their pickup of Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, he can be a good asset, but when
mm.
we look at what has he produced lately, it hasn't been matching up as the hype that a lot of people expected him to be when he came in the league. I think the Celtics actually, I don't see them making the Eastern Conference Finals next year with that loss of Marcus Smart. And another thing, Jaylen Brown, when it comes time for postseason, he needs to develop that skill set where he can dribble and drive. He had 8 turnovers in Game 7 against Miami as a guard. As a guard,
I mean,
that
that's
should not
happened.
happen.
That's happened to a couple players now.
But if you look at the last year's too, the year before that, when they
Yeah,
were going up against Golden State, every time he drives through the lane, I mean, every 4 times he's getting plucked or he's losing the ball.
yeah. I mean, I was telling my boy Reese about this because like Reese was actually telling me that T Mac was working with him on his handle once they lost to the Warriors, and they lost to the Warriors not too long ago, for real, for real. So I'm like, in order to like actually master something, it's gonna take a while.
Mhm.
So I mean, if it takes about a year to master something, and he's not been known as the skilled player coming out. Like when he went to Cal, they were saying he's going to be a project offensively, but a good athlete should be good defensively. And every year he's gotten better offensively. So because of
Hell
that
yeah.
trajectory, I would say they got to give it a little patience. I think he has been working on it because like that man be snatching some ankles too now. Like he'll get he'll get a few people slipping, but yeah, you can't have 8 turnovers too though, especially
Yeah.
when you had the season or the postseason that you did last year too. Like so, I mean, I get you on that. That
Yeah.
that
And
needs
I have no doubt he's a great player. And I think Jaylen Brown is one of the, I could see a case for making him a top 25 player in the league. But for him to have that 8 turnovers, it kind of hurts that argument if he could actually ever be put in that conversation of being top 25.
Oh, I don't know. I could say he could be make an argument for top 15
Well,
because
I'm
what.
not going off from, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I'm putting him
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah,
conversation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get you though too, because it's what you've done for me lately, and people remember that as the lasting moment for
Yeah.
him. So it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that is a little tough. Chris, let me ask you this, right? Because I had to start it off with Josh because I had to hit it from an emotional standpoint. But do you feel like though the Celtics can cause some worry for teams like the Heat? Because I mean, all right, to Josh's point now, Kristaps Porzingis was projected to be that unicorn, that guy, right? And he has had health injuries. But however, last season he was healthy. I think he plays. Let me pull up the exact stats. I don't want to. misquote, but it was a good amount of games. I want to say 60 something if I'm not mistaken. Gave you about 20 points, eight rebounds, 2 blocks. Yeah, 65 games, gave you 23 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.8 blocks, 0.7 steals, so rounding up to 1 steal, 2 blocks. Like that ain't bad. Like that ain't bad. I mean, do you think the Celtics are the team to beat, Chris? Because KP could be a third option. And again, the number that I gave is 23, 8, 3, 1, and 2.
I would say yes, but until you thrown the champ, you still got to put them as favorites.
Okay.
Now,
but in the East though, they're the favorites.
If they sign back Kyle, I say if Miami do what they need to do in this offseason, I agree with at Double J. If you get Dame, cool. But if you re-sign back your core players that was there last year, you can run it back. And I'm truthfully, you don't know what's going on with Philly. Like you said earlier, you don't know what's going on with the Bucks. It's literally like a 2-team race in the East.
Okay, so that KP move didn't make them the favorites. Okay. I don't know, champ. So can I ask? I just got to ask from this standpoint. And Josh, I'm glad you brought up Marcus Smart getting traded, right? Because that is tough. Like that really is tough. They try to get Brogdon out there first and foremost. But fellas, I think sometimes you got to put a little accountability, a little onus on players, on stars. And I think removing someone like a Marcus Smart, while tough, I think it's necessary and needed going forward. Because if there was somebody to check the Celtics, it was Marcus Smart. But I need Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to be the ones that are checking the Celtics. So now that means they also got to make sure they're held accountable. They're holding themselves accountable. So I think going forward, it should make the Celtics better. Or you figure out, okay, these boys ain't it. But I'm looking at it from that standpoint. Do y'all think the Marcus Smart trade was or Josh, do you think the Marcus Smart trade was wrong still from that standpoint?
I can see why, for accountability, you're going to want to have Tatum and Brown. I think that is probably the best, 2 forward guard or duo that we have in the league right now. But when you have a heart and soul anchor like Marcus Smart, who's able to go out and just, work every night, not worry about stats, because, a lot of players will start to worry about their stats if they're falling off. But he's just somebody who's always going to go out there and work. I can't really say I like that trade for the Celtics. If I'm a Celtics fan, I don't like that trade. You lose a key asset, a key piece who knows their role, who is a perfect fit for the team. He can distribute. He can shoot when he needs to. He doesn't take too many unreliable shots. But I get it. They needed a big, but I really don't see how that big and Kristaps Porzingis is going to fill their void of now Marcus Smart. It's more like the 80-20 rule. You have 80% and you start to look at with the 20% that you're missing. Once you go for that 20%, you're going to lose that 80% that you had.
Now, let me ask you this, Josh. Do you think, and me and Trey was talking about earlier, do you think the Celtics is going to miss Marcus during the playoffs? Because I understand because they were trying to get rid of Brogdon, but I understand y'all got back the 6 man of the year, but now your 6 man of the year is about to be your starting point guard for the following season.
I just want to say before you keep going, is actually a better point guard than Marcus Smart, I want to add. Now, you can talk about durability. Defensively, though, Brogdon ain't bad. So I mean, in terms of messing up from a point guard standpoint, Brogdon might be better than Marcus Smart, but that heart and soul piece, though, you can't. Yeah, that is tricky to give up too, though. But I so you think they're still going to miss them in the playoffs?
I think so. I mean, and I look at what they went over in the playoffs. They had their first round matchup was against who was it against? It wasn't Philly was their second round matchup, right?
They played. Why can I not? It was the Hawks.
They played the Hawks. So their first round matchup, not too much of a problem with the Hawks. They did have
It
a lot of
wasn't.
games.
Don't get it
Hold on.
twisted.
I wasn't done. They had some games that were a lot closer than they should have been.
Yeah.
And I think it was a 4-2 series.
Did it go 5 or 6? Hold on, let me run that back.
It went 6. It could have went 7.
It almost went 7. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost went 7 because
Yeah, it did go 6 actually. Yep, y'all right.
Yeah, so 4-2 with the Hawks, then they go 4-3 with Philly, and then they lose in 7 to Miami.
And they were down in that series too, by the way.
Down 3-1, yeah. No, they were down 3-0 to Miami, right?
Yeah, I was talking about the 76ers. They were down 3-2.
Okay, yeah. So when you have somebody like that, you're going to always, Jason Tatum is 25, 26. Same thing about Jaylen Brown, 26, 27. Marcus Smart is a little bit older than them, but when you have a reputation for being the heart and soul of a team, he upholds that. Yeah, he gets in some stupid stuff like doing stupid fouls, flops, but I think during the playoffs, you're going to need a leader. Al Horford, he's a leader, but he's not that outspoken leader. He's a quiet guy, likes to fly under the radar. Brogdon, quiet guy, flies under the radar. So it's like, who is going to be that guy to step up? And to your point, maybe you have Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown that's going to step up. But it's really like, when they were down in these points of being down 3-2, being down 3-0, who was that guy in the locker room that was like, hey, fellas, we need to get this ship corrected in the right way. And right now, today, I can't just see anybody on that team doing that. Maybe Brogdon comes in, but what I saw this postseason from him, I know he had injuries. I just can't see him replacing Marcus Smart and being the guy that they need and filling that void.
That point guard.
Yeah.
That point guard.
I think something I want to see, because I think it's going to happen in 2 different instances. I don't think they're both going to take ownership at the same time. I think JB starts it off because it's going to be a little egotistical too in terms of what causes JT, but JB setting the tone. I personally feel like they both remind me of Kobe and T-Mac. And, JT reminds me more of T-Mac, and JB reminds me more of Kobe. Now, I'm not saying they're both going to turn out to be those players, but like from a talent perspective, I was telling you, T-Mac I thought was better than Kobe from a talent perspective, but Kobe wanted it more. So like I see JB wanting it more, and he's also the vice president, if I'm not mistaken, of Basketball Players Association. So having those credentials, and he does seem like fairly mature. Like I haven't seen anything stupid from him. I think he would be that person to replace Marcus Smart. And I think doing that, you become the leader. You're already viewed as the leader, but like it goes up a notch. And I think because of that, now the players might start to rely more so on you to get the job done when things get a little tight than JT. I was having that question, who's better than JT versus JB?
Yeah.
But now JT comes a little bit later on, maybe the season afterwards, because again, but I don't think it's going to happen right at the same time. I think JB starts that though, because you got to learn to be a leader, and I don't think they've both been leaders yet. I think they've had good moments, they've been working towards it, but they still got to show they got to show more stuff. And JB's also the older player too, so again, more mature, at least from what I can see. I think that's how it might go down personally, but we got to wait and see though. But moral of the story is nobody sound like the Celtics are the favorites though.
Oh, I think on paper, yes, the Celtics are the favorites. But it all comes down to who's going to win it more when the season's at stake.
That's fair. And I think that's where you guys shine. Actually, I think that's where you guys shine. But speaking of wanting it more, then they did win this year's championship. The Denver Nuggets. We talked about Jovic earlier, right? You want to see him progress. We talked about Jokic and his dominance and his sustainment towards that. Do y'all think he's going to regress though? I mean, is he going to regress? Is he going to repeat his performance, meaning like duplicate it, or is he just going to elevate it even more so? Because he's kind of elevated it every season now for the last 3 seasons. So I mean, are we going to see something greater than the last season, or what do you guys expect to see from Jokic now?
I mean, truthfully, if he really want to take his game, if he really want to be the face of the league, I mean, honestly, if you can find a way to go back to back, all I just need is like his team is to be healthy, get to the playoffs, and do whatever you got to do, because he's probably like the only center that I know in NBA history that don't have any type of athletic. He got dumps, but he don't have any type of athletic gifts. It still be at school and cats like they like playing up at the YM at the Y. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Go ahead, Josh.
I don't think Jokic will regress, and here's why. He has a great team around him. I think he more so will try to figure out how to get others in his team involved. They have a young squad, and that's the dangerous part about this. Their squad, I think I looked at their whole lineup, and their whole starting lineup was under the age of 29. And the starting lineup, they have a young, healthy bench. Um, they're a good team. Um, like he said, he has no athleticism, none.
At all.
And he's just, there were shots I was looking at when I'm watching him play the Heat. I'm like, oh yeah, we going back down the other way. It's a miss. And even against the Lakers, shooting off a 1-foot step back three, and he makes it. So I'm just like, man, this doesn't this should not be going the way it is. But he's still playing at that performance level that he is. And a lot of people say he should have been the back-to-back-to-back regular season MVP. And I can't really say an argument against that because of what he did in the regular season matched up with what he produced in the postseason as well. And not like putting up the numbers, being able to pass as well as he can. Dangerous.
So my only argument against Jokic was I went Embiid this year. I went Jokic the last 2 years, but Embiid I went this year because of the two-way ability. Like, win shares, they were close, even though Jokic kind of gets a little boost because of his passing ability. That's his game. Embiid led, like the brother was playing special this season. So I'm like, all right, I got to go Embiid on this one. Plus his team ain't do too bad. Could have done a little better, but still, they had some missing pieces overall, I thought. So I personally went Embiid for the two-way effect. Like defense, even though stats say, okay, well, Embiid doesn't do this, or I'm sorry, Jokic isn't that far off. I think if you look at their defense, like when he was going at the Celtics were trying to go at him, he was swatting stuff. He was swatting shots. Like it seemed kind of hard to block, or it seemed kind of hard to score. And I felt like if they had some more backup to help Embiid in terms of his playing ability or his play time, could have actually beat the Celtics personally, especially because he was injured. But I do hear that on the Jokic part, back to back to back, that like 3 times in a row could have been a possibility. It could have been a legit possibility. So I do. People who think that wasn't a thing, it really was. I do wonder though if he regresses from this standpoint, because like you said, Josh, he has a young squad. I had to double check whether or not Contavious Caldwell Pope was 29. I was like, nah, that brother might be 31 at this point in time. But now he's 29. I was kind of surprised by that one. But Michael Porter Jr., I know we kind of talked about him a little bit in terms of saying like, he's playing like trash. He had a solid game 1. Game 2, maybe he did all right. And then after that, like where he been. But I think a lot of people don't remember that he had a back injury. And that took him being like a top pick.
Oh yeah.
So I
he
mean,
should have at Missouri. He should have been, probably eligible to go number 1 if he plays a full healthy season.
Exactly. So I mean, you sustain that from high school. Like it gets tricky. So I'm expecting MPJ actually to. I think you win a championship, but you also feel like realistically you did not matter as much as you would have liked. Like when you look back at this, all right, Aaron Gordon mattered more, Jamal Murray mattered more, KCP mattered more, Bruce Brown damn sure mattered more. Like Bruce Brown showed moments where he mattered more. Like Jeff Green mattered more. Like, bro, you could have been an 8th pick or an 8th option on the squad. You don't want to have that as your legacy. So I'm expecting him to kind of show up a little bit more so next season. Jamal Murray might play a little bit better too during the regular season because he was working his way back in. So I don't think Jokic has to do everything as he has done from a stats perspective. So that's why I put quotation marks around that regress. Like I don't think he's gonna keep having to do this. Like you said, young squad. But we're gonna have to see about that one though. Do y'all have a big y'all have any stock on MPJ turning the corner?
Honestly, he turned the corner for me after game 5.
I mean, turn the corner in a positive way, like you said.
In a positive way, yes. If he can stay healthy, his game should raise up more. If he can just stay healthy, that will help out Joker and Murray like it's nothing. Because you already got a 2-headed monster. If Porter be that 3rd monster with them 2 snakes, at the West, it better be in for a long run.
Okay. That's what you think.
I think, I agree with that point, but I need another word to be thrown in there. If he can stay healthy and be consistent. Brother has no problem getting off shots. He can get them up, and he can create his own shot. He needs to just knock those shots down. I think he shot at like a 25% from the field at the end towards like games 3 and 4 of the finals. It was something along that, or it was either 3 and 4 or 4 and 5. One of the games he was shooting very bad. I think 18% or 25% from the field. But
pulling up his stats real quick to pull that up.
Yeah, he can be a good player in the league. He's a 7-footer basically. He's 6'10".
Yeah, 6'10", yeah.
He can get his shot off. I think if he can take his game to the next level, work with Lethal Shooter on, how to perfect the art of shooting, he's going to be a good talent in this league for years to come. But he needs to stay more consistent and also healthy at the same time to be an integral part of Denver's run for a back-to-back potential championship this year.
Yeah, I think the issue is from a physical standpoint, I think he might be second guessing himself. Like when I rolled my ankle I didn't break it. I rolled my ankle pretty badly my junior year of college, and I still don't. If I play basketball, I'm not going to do certain things with my left leg that I can do with my right. Like it's just not going to work. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I think for him, what I would like to see is him being more aggressive, getting more rebounds. Like he did really well games 1 and 5 on the rebound, from a rebounding perspective, getting double-digit rebounds. He's 6'10" and is decently athletic. Like you should be able to get rebounds, especially when you are damn near a 2-guard on your team. But also driving the ball, because again, he's 6'10".
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton is 6'11" as a center on the Phoenix Suns. So we're saying as a small forward to 2-guard is 6'10". Brother, get your ass to the rim respectfully. I'm sorry. Listen, I understand Steph made it look cute to get to shoot these threes. Stop looking light skin on the court. Like every time he does a step back, I'm like, all right, you're gonna drive to the rim next time. It's another step back, and then it's another step back, and what you're doing is letting the defense off. I'm okay. I'd rather you try. Like even Duncan Robinson, I feel like attacked the basket more than Michael Porter Jr.
Oh
you
yeah.
look at the two archetypes. That should not be the case, at all. So that's what I want to see. I agree with you both on health and consistency. But my word is aggression, which I do think it might hurt his health a little bit because like that's why I say that might be in the back of his mind. Or if I drive, I might get injured, or maybe my back gets hurt, or whatever the case may be. But I think that's what's going to need. That's what's needed for him and this Nuggets team to like unlock a new level. Because if you just try to keep running this big two, I mean, it's cool and all, but it's going to get stopped pretty soon. So I mean, not stopped, but you're not going to be looking this dominant that long. So you got to keep elevating players. But I mean, it's not like though they are the favorites in the West though. Until we bring up CP3 and the Warriors, fellas, like, hey, is CP3 finally gonna get his first ring with the Warriors? No, like no.
Unless they don't sign back Draymond Green. If they don't sign back Draymond Green, they will be a play-in tournament team at max.
So if they sign Draymond, then they'll be a contender.
Yes.
And they'd be good to go. So
Yes.
okay. So we got a contender on the left side. Well, my left. How y'all looking at it? Nah, because someone's gonna be like, hold on, man. So like, Josh, you're saying no, and you shook your head real quick. I could barely get the sentence out.
Yes.
So,
It's just there's no doubt that the Golden State Warriors, they are the Golden State Warriors. They're a great team. Whenever you have the best shooter on the planet on your team, you're always going to be in likelihood to be competing. You combine that with Klay Thompson, brother can shoot as well. I agree. Draymond Green, if they do not get him back, they are not having much success, if any. And we had the same conversation on Saturday. I don't think there's only probably two other players that can fit Draymond Green role and do what he can do, but none as good as him. The chemistry that he has with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, he knows his role, he knows what he should be doing. Another emotional leader on a team.
Yeah.
Now you have Chris Paul. They can't. Let's say they keep Draymond Green. They cannot afford to have Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green on the court at the same time to start a game. They have to face the Nuggets 4 times a year, the Lakers 4 times a year. That means I got to see Jokic and should be a healthy Anthony Davis 4 times a year.
Should be. They
would get hammered in the paint if they played those teams like that. Draymond.
Matter of fact, let me add one more team into that picture. Even though they're young, but you tell me one of the team that has a 6'11" center and a 7'2" center. Minnesota, they got bigs too. Memphis, they got bigs. The Spurs, they about to have a 7'4", a 7'4",
Let's not put the Spurs in this conversation.
I don't care.
I don't care. We're talking about contending teams. Like that's not. Like, come on now. Let's not be those people.
But y'all know where I'm going.
I get what you're saying, though. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But like, hear me out, though, fellas. Can we throw CP3 on the bench? Because you can still get him 25 to 30 minutes a game.
Well, that's the only place for him right now. He can't go in the starting lineup. Because, like I said, if they put him in the starting lineup, they re-sign Draymond Green. Draymond Green's going to be looking to be in that starting lineup. Now, he was okay with that during the playoffs because whatever it takes to win. But he's going to look to be in that starting lineup.
But you just said, too, though, whatever it takes to win. So, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. I think CP3 should come off the bench. But in a world where Draymond maybe should come off the bench, like I thought he should come off the bench next season. It might have been nice, like, because you have some young boys who are coming in. Like, maybe it might be a better fit chemistry-wise if you're going to keep Jordan Poole and you're planning on starting him. Because I don't think you need it. It was going to get tricky because they started paying Jordan Poole as a starter, too. It's like, at the age he is, you want to play him, especially if you want to try to flip him to. I don't know, but
this is the thing. What's the average height of a 2-guard right now? 6'6", 6'7". That's average height probably for a 2-guard. Steph Curry 6'3", Chris Paul 6 feet. That means any pick and roll that they have when they're on defense, that they don't have to pick between, I need Steph Curry. Now they can pick, Chris Paul's down there. Let's get him on a block. Steph Curry, it don't matter. We'll take any one of y'all. A pick
Yeah.
and roll is going to be easier with that option,
But they
and they
also
are not going to be able to get out of that.
but they also have to defend. And it's not like they can't go big with the team too. They also got athletes. So like my thought process is this: you definitely can run Steph Curry and Chris Paul on the floor at the same time. But Steph got his team, Chris got his young boys. Because remember when Chris Paul had OKC and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, they did well. D Book, they did well. Well, you got a whole bunch of young boys on this Warriors team that people keep forgetting about, like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. Let him develop the young boys and run that second unit because you need a bench like we talked about. So you get a bench with a floor general in CP3. You minimize his minutes so that way, hopefully, knock on wood, he don't get injured. And then you get Steph and them boys just do what they normally do. Like, I think that could actually work and actually beat a team like the Nuggets because the Nuggets run an 8 deep. And fellas, these boys can run about 10 deep with people who score and they play make and they cut and they run these like that's a lot of pressure that you actually can put on the Nuggets. So I mean, and they got athletes who can combat Michael Porter Jr. They got bigs like Draymond who can guard Jokic. They got Kevon Looney who can help out with the rebound, and you still got the offense of Steph and Clay, which Clay didn't show up too much this last postseason, so he need to come back. But Andrew Wiggins also was out of commission too for a couple months, so he was out of I don't think he didn't get back into basketball form. So I think this Warriors team does look a little bit interesting. Initially, I was like you though, Josh. I was like, nah, that's not gonna work, champ. But I did kind of sleep on it, let it marinate a little bit. And I think it might not be as bad as people think. Like it definitely could go left though, but like I think it's gonna pan out well. Like I really truly do. And I mean, I can already imagine the slogan: if you can't beat them, join them. Because Chris Paul has not been able to beat the Warriors, so you got it. Just be ironic if he ends up winning his first ring with the team that just prevented him from doing so for so long. And then you help Steph get over your good friend in LeBron James, who is his rival essentially outside of Kevin Durant. It would just be a really good, funny narratives overall, like just all around across the board. But there is another team, I guess, standing in the way in the West, which again kind of goes back to that narrative that the West is harder and tougher than the East. But we got the Phoenix Suns, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? We got the Phoenix Suns. It looks like they're gonna try to keep DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, they are. They already said that.
Yeah, it looks like they already trying to keep him. Like, do y'all think it's wrong that they trying to keep DeAndre Ayton? Chris, I feel like we should start with you because you got your face scrunched up or it's frozen. I don't know which one to go. I think is it frozen? He ain't moved yet. Hold on. Okay. He's that mad. So go ahead, talk to us then. Why are you so upset that they kept DeAndre Ayton? Or are you just that baffled that I'm asking this question right now?
Well, so why the hell are you keeping him in the first place? He don't want to be in Phoenix, period. He don't want to be in Phoenix, period. That's one.
Okay.
That's one. Number two, I'm still going to say this. You cannot get blown out in the game 7 on your home court on that side at television. That's one. And then number two, you got absolutely dog walk by Denver on your home court again. Truth to be told, you cannot have any more excuses. You got Bill, you got KD. Who's going to be coming back this year?
I mean, but that sounds like a really good excuse.
You got
who you got coming back?
Okay, if you do not go minimum Western Conference Finals, if you do not go that far, ain't got to go. This is my last chance of giving him some type of grace down in Phoenix. You got to show up. You got to show up.
But like, all right, so someone asked me this question. Why are we blaming it all on Ayton? Like, don't get me wrong now. I did not appreciate the fact that the boy did not show up as much as he could have, because I ain't gonna lie, that's the reason why I cashed out when I did. If I had known he was gonna do what he did, I wouldn't have done that. But to be fair though, he did give doubles in the games that the Sun lost. So I mean, the 2 games that D-Book and KD just started to go scorched earth. Those are the only 2 games that he didn't go double digits. But yet we blaming Ayton, and I'm like, he already don't get as many touches as these ball dominant scorers on his team. So like, I don't know. But you say though he should have already been gone. Josh, you feel the same way?
Um, I do.
Thank you.
When I think he should have been gone for. Now this was coming into this year.
Yeah, he was
You
on the
had a head coach with their head
Monty,
coach, Monty
him and
Williams,
Monty,
had
they
zero
didn't see eye to
communication
eye.
with them in that offseason after they lost to the Mavericks in a terrible, terrible game 7. And I mean, anytime you're down by 50 at half,
On national television.
and I think they only had to like score 23 points.
It wasn't the best time.
Somebody got to go, and nothing happened. Now,
Monty did leave though.
no. I'm saying that was from last year. Now we're coming into the year that just passed. Nobody had left. Now we go into this year. You have a departure of Monty Williams. You have the departure of CP3. DeAndre Ayton, after they lost this year, same thing comes out every time. He would not mind a fresh start in another place. And that's just what reporters are saying. That's not, I'm making up. It sounds like the brother went out. It does. And it's just, they're going to keep him there. But I think it's just ridiculous when you have to pay his contract, Devin Booker's contract, Kevin Durant's contract, and now Bradley Beal's contract. And when I just looked at Bradley Beal's contract, this brother is scheduled to make $50 million this year. Going into this, no, $46 million this year. DeAndre Ayton's contract, he's expected to make $32 million this year. Now, I'm not the smartest on this earth, but I know that Bradley Beal and DeAndre Ayton are not better than Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And I can just guess that between some range, they're making 30 to 40 this year too.
Like
So
42 and 38, I think, for D-Book. Let me double check that number. Yeah.
that's a lot of cash you putting into 4 players. And what we just talked about, what every champion has had this past championship run, a strong bench. I don't see them developing a strong bench. A good one would be a miracle for them.
I lied. It was 52, not 32. Yeah, so D-Book is getting his base salary 52. KD is 49. Bradley Beal is 50, and DeAndre Ayton is 34.
That's a
Wait,
lot of cash.
time out. Where's old little boy? What's his name?
Campaign?
They got rid of him?
No, he's still there. But I'm just saying between
Oh,
4
Tap Hole
players.
right now. Okay, I was about to say that's crazy. Okay.
Between 4 players, that's how much you're paying.
Yeah. I mean, it can get a little tricky. I personally, but like, I ain't gonna lie, Beal's contract is stupid. 50 is disgusting. But I mean, if you have D-Book, Kevin Durant, Brad Beal, Kevin Durant throws the wrench and everything because he can be a power forward. Now you can get some versatile 3-and-D wings. You get a player like Miles Turner. He worked less. So now you get 14 extra mil back that you can now spend, or is it 28 with him? I'll double check that. But either way, you get to save a little bit of money.
Yeah.
You still get a nice young big who rim protects, stretches the floor. Like, I personally like him. But yeah, that is a lot to go into the team. I do think they can get veterans on the veteran, like for the low though. Like, for example, Andre Drummond, that brother can play and play for like a really low amount, like 2-3 mil. Get you some quality rebounds, be a big body, because DeAndre Ayton's gonna need some help. He's a little slimmer, so throwing against Jokic, Giannis, like you need some bigger bodies to help out. I'm not saying he's the best option, but he's not a bad option, especially when you think about it from a rebounding perspective. He was averaging like, I think 8 rebounds, but not playing that many minutes, like 16 or something like that. Like, that's not bad at all. So
Yeah.
You get players like him who can actually come help out. I've actually made a list about who those players were, but again, I think they are able to fill out the roster. Even
With
here,
what
it's
money?
tricky.
With what money? Me and Josh say the same thing. With what money?
That's a lot of cash between 4 players.
Yeah.
I know they got to be paying a cap hit this year.
Oh, no, they're going to be paying the cap hit. Like, that's easy. You have to. Like, mathematically, you have to. Like off the break, I think it's 163, 169, something like that. That the
It's
cap is.
168.
Yeah,
168. Around
and
that
like you're
ballpark.
you're 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 already you're already over it with these 4 players. So I
Yeah.
mean, at this point in time, I guess you're just gonna have to see like, yo, is it going to be worth it to go this much over the cap? But is there any way to get out of this trade anyway? Even if you trade DeAndre Ayton and you still got to bring back like a quality big to replace him.
Yerkes?
No,
Oh,
stop it. I'll be damned. No. Oh my God, Chris. You said Nurkic?
No.
Oh, I swear I thought you said Nurkic. Oh, I almost got so irritated with you. Like, bro, I don't even think you understand, dog.
a quality big. I mean, the thing is,
Yusuf
they
Houston?
Boosie? Bro, you don't have that many bigs options in the league anyways.
Yeah.
Can't
Even
say
if-
Miles.
You can't go Nick Claxton.
Nope.
Can't go nobody young because you still need some experience.
The most you could go with Drummond. You could go with Drummond. But that's cheap.
But you have to do that though. It's like the Heatles back in the day. They had to go cheap. Like, so I feel like it's gonna be a similar situation, but worse because there's 4 people, not 3.
what about backup center from Memphis, Tillman? He's
Tillman like
young.
8 though.
He's at 6'8". Okay.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
6'8".
What about and now this would be a stretch from Brandon Clark.
No.
Brandon like 6'8" too though, and then I got to think about Brandon going up against Jokic, like those.
6'8"?
Yeah, Brandon like 6'8", 6'9". I like Brandon though. Don't get me wrong. I've always
Yeah.
In their division, I say, in their division alone, they got to deal with the Clippers. They got to at the Clippers
Zubac.
4 times, at the Lakers 4 times, Sacramento 4 times.
well, hold on.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to get anybody as quality in return for DeAndre Ayton. I think if you were to give DeAndre Ayton up, you build a stronger bench to be more competitive. Right now, they don't have anything. I think they only have 5 players signed to their active roster as of last week. That could have changed. I know they just brought Jabari Parker in for a visit and a workout and somebody else, but they're going to have to sign some people for extremely low.
Oh yeah, it's all gonna have to. Matter of fact, I think the roster that I had came up for them. Where is it? It's right here. I had Torrey Craig, Will Barton, Campaign. And mind you, this was before Brad Beal got here. Right? And I think CP3, CP3 still on the book, so you got to give him. You got to take $3 million off the cap because I was thinking they're going to buy him out. You got Campaign, Christian Wood would have been nice, Landry Shamet, Dennis Smith Jr. Shout out to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Will Barton, Torrey Craig, Wayne Wright, Darius Baisley. I think that could have been an interesting team. You get a lot of versatility. You got players who can actually play alongside both D-Book, KD, Ayton. Like, I think that would have paired nice. And then having Christian Wood as like a 4th option, I don't think he was utilized properly on the Mavericks. So I thought they were going to go I thought they could have gone something like that. But bringing in Brad Beal, like, for me, I was already bringing folks in on like $4 million, $3 million, $5 million, $6 million. Like, Shamet, Payne, and Christian Wood got 10 and 15 mil. And that was just because Payne and Shamet already had those 10 mils. So I mean, they're gonna have to bring people in for the cheap and just tell people, look, bro, like, we're gonna win this championship. Like, you might, if you want a ring, it's gonna cost about 2 mil for the year. We'll treat you right. But no, it's gonna have to be some vets or some young boys who got some.
You might be able to bring in DeMarcus Cousins. You know.
Oh, what about a Mike Beasley?
No,
I haven't seen him hoop in a while, but he could add some element. But you know, if we're just strictly talking about that center position,
yeah,
Boogie Cousins, he
Oh,
would be able to help.
Oh yeah, strictly for the center position, Boogie.
Yeah.
What about Dwight Howard for you guys?
That brother having too much fun in Taiwan.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
But I mean, to be fair, the last time we saw Dwight Howard, or one of the last times we saw Dwight Howard go up against someone like Jokic, although that was about 3-4 years ago, but still, he didn't do that bad, and he still got that strength factor. So just for somebody battling Jokic and somebody who you can bring in on the cheap, I might consider D12. Boogie too, because again, I think you can also play both of them at the same time with someone like a Kevin Durant and D Book because you need height. They run zone as well too, so less man to man. You don't have to worry about mobility as much. Although I think D12 can do a little defense individually, but Boogie probably not. So I mean, those would be two solid options. I think both of them actually will be back at this season. To be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to be both on the same team, but both of them should get a little look-see. It'll be interesting if they can play on the Spurs too. That'll be nice. That'll be interesting. Side note, before we kind of close off, I had a bet with a homeboy. He said the Spurs are going to have a better record than the Lakers next season. What's y'all thoughts on that? Because I gladly took that bet.
He said the Spurs would have a better record than the Lakers?
Yeah.
Sound like free money to me.
That's way free money. That's way free money.
I wanted to be decent. I put down $100 on it, so I expect to get that next season. Just know though, if I don't get that $100 because of like some Bron BS, I'm going to be livid. Like, oh my god, you think I don't like this man already?
Nah, I can't see the Spurs making. They're gonna be all right, but I can't see them. I look for the Lakers to be a playoff team again this year. I don't see the Spurs making it to the playoffs. I think the Lakers have a lot of all-season stuff they need to figure out themselves. But
Do we?
Spurs,
See, if you were wondering why I haven't talked about us, because we don't know who the hell we got on our team yet.
We don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to. So, can I? I just got to ask you this one time though, for the one time, maybe two questions. Does Austin Reeves deserve 100 M's, dog? Because I ain't gonna hold you, Josh. At the start, bro, when people were talking about 50 M's, hey, I was like, we're paying who? What? Nah, chill out. But then he started hooping a little bit. I'm like, all right, maybe over 4 years, 50 might be cool. Like, I might be all right with that. Then they started saying 80. And I'm like, my chest started caving in a little bit. I'm like, you know what? This starting to hurt too much. Pineapples. I don't like this. Like, and then they starting to say 100. And then it's just like, you know what? At this point in time, y'all really trying to lose me as a fan right now. So like, for you, where do you stand on this Austin Reeves narrative and getting paid?
I can't see 100. That looks a little bit too much. I could do 80, 70, 80. That might look
Maybe
appropriate,
60?
but huh?
Maybe
I would
60.
love.
60 would be great, but I'm just saying, that the market is changing every year, and a player, I guess, I don't have his numbers. I hadn't looked at what he had produced at like for his averages. But he was a good option. I think, the game 1 or game 2 against Memphis put up 20. And he played like the player he should have been. He played well, had enough offense, can get to the line, consistent free throw shooter. I can't see 100, but the Lakers, I think at the end of the season, they did say they're prepared to match any offer for. So it's going to be interesting. But I think the Lakers need to learn from what they did wrong and not bring back that team that they should have had. I think Dennis Schroeder is definitely a player that they need to keep. D'Lo did play bad a little bit. Did play not up to par in that Denver series, but I think you have to look at the whole aspect of who he was in the playoffs, and I think the Lakers would be kind of foolish not to want to bring him back.
Yeah, I can understand why someone doesn't want to bring him back, but with someone like D'Lo, my only trepidation with bringing back D'Lo is if you're trying to match Austin Reeves. That tells me that we are investing into him as an organization.
Yeah.
Which means if you're going to pair him with someone like D'Lo, unless you're saying D'Lo, bring your ass off this bench, champ. Like, I can't say D'Lo and Austin Reeves is going to work as a duo. I like my teams to have a little balance. Like I do, for example, going back to the Suns, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. I might question it a little bit. Offensively, they great. Defensively, though, could have some question marks.
Yeah.
But at least D Book has shown the capability to defend. He's not a scrub. Bradley Beal, not either. D'Lo and Reeves, they don't give me the same offensive potency those two do. And I gotta say, those other duo on the Sun might be better defensively than our duo for the Lakers. So if we're gonna invest in Reeves,
Mm-hmm.
I would see us not bringing back D'Lo. But if we bring back D'Lo, we got to ship off Reeves because if other people are trying to match him, if someone trying to give him $100 million, like we can finesse that, I think. But that's my only trepidation with it. Do you feel like that we can win the championship next season if we bring in someone like a Fred VanVleet?
The Lakers?
Yeah.
The Lakers are always a team that has, a lot of conversation surrounding them. It could be they have the worst team. It's like, oh, who's on the Lakers? They could have a great team, and it's now, are the Lakers competitive?
Mm.
Now, I think Fred VanVleet is an unrestricted free agent.
Yes.
I
He's
think
real
a player his caliber is going to want to look at making around $30 million a year.
I would think so, considering the fact that he's making 85 over 4 off his last contract.
Mm-hmm. So the Lakers could bring in Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet can shoot the ball. He gets in, dribble drive, oop to 80. I mean, it looks pretty solid. Now, if the Lakers are competitive for a championship,
Mm-hmm.
that determines all on one player. And do you know who that player is?
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis.
Yes.
If he can play like Anthony Davis when he was getting them boards, I think he had a 30-20 game. And he had like 15 rebounds. He averaged double-digit rebounds for a stretch.
Yeah.
If he can play like that, Anthony Davis, the Lakers very well should be competing for a championship. Now, his health needs to keep up with that as well.
Yeah. I see. Health is a big thing for AD.
And
I also
Bron.
feel like too, though.
And Bron.
Yeah, but I also feel like too, though. I don't think that Bron is like actually scaled back. Now you can say, well, that's because AD hasn't taken the reins from him. But if we're always saying, okay, well, I'm expecting you to do this, I need you to do that, blah 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 blah. I'd like coaching at some point in time, like, hey, look, let's scheme this here. Like, let's do this here. Like, let's start getting this brother's more confidence because I don't necessarily know if he's confident in his abilities within the NBA personally as Anthony Davis. Now he's confident in his abilities to defend. That man can defend his ass off at the rim. Like in playoffs, I understand he struggled offensively, but defensively, that I think Anthony Davis is showing people he might want to just be the second option, and that can be okay. That can be okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think we are gonna be winning the next season, especially if we bring in someone like a Fred VanVleet.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fred, yeah, okay, Fred shoots the ball. I give you that. Fred play makes pretty good. I'll give you that. Fred shoot 39% from the field for a career though. Like, and he's 6'1". So respectfully, I'm gonna run his little ass off the 3-point line, and then he becomes less effective. Now you talk about the playmaking, but when I'm passing the ball, it's going to either Anthony Davis, LeBron James on the wing, which I'm okay with that brother shooting the three, or maybe Austin Reeves. But I want you to pass the ball. Like I don't like the balance that we would get if we get Fred VanVleet personally, and I feel like it's going to be too tricky. Like I don't think we should have gotten to the Western Conference Finals this past playoffs. Like if Steph has Andrew Wiggins show up, we lose. Like I projected we were going to lose that series. I didn't think he was going to have too many people show up. So, like I don't know if we're going to win a championship this series, like this year. I got to see a lot of improvements from us this season because I won't overly impress. I like the fact that we got over the hump, but I'm also thinking too, damn, bro. At the beginning of the season, I'm thinking we're contenders. Like we have contending talent.
Yeah,
So I don't know. But like I said, I ain't want to get too in the weeds on us because
Oh yeah.
we don't know who we have. But my final question for you, kind of circling around the Lakers, who y'all got between Austin Reeves and Alex Caruso? Like, who would you rather have on your squad right now?
If I knew you was going to pick that. If I'm him,
Mhm.
I'm going with Caruso. But if I need another bucket go getter to help out Bron and AD, I'm picking
Austin
AR.
Reeves. Okay, Josh, how you feeling?
That's a tough one. You can look at it from a business standpoint, from whatever standpoint. If I'm looking at a business standpoint, I know I'm gonna get Caruso for cheaper.
Mhm.
If I'm looking at it from what do I want in the next 3, if it all depends on what the Lakers are looking at and how far their strategic plan is. Because if they're planning for the next 6 years, they're going to want to have a player who they can kind of keep and that they know how to work. They're going to try to keep building with him. Caruso is a player. Um, he knows his role.
Right.
Reeves is a player who has a role, but tends to pick up if there's slack on other people's part.
Mhm.
So if it really depends if they need a bucket getter, which they probably will go after Caruso. I mean not Caruso,
Reeves.
Reeves more than Caruso because of what how Reeves has shown up, especially with this year.
Mhm. I'll give you that. Yeah. Like I can't be mad at the man hoop. I mean, he did improve. Um, I mean, I ain't trying to slander the man. I'll just leave it at that. He played well. He hit shots. He
Yeah.
showed up. I'm curious. I just want to see consistency from him. So like this one year was cool. Next year, does he dip? Like more people put more eyes on you, more footage
Yeah.
now. Watch and see, observe. Like we know he gonna drive, hit that little spin, pump fake weight. Like he's not the most athletic, so he's gonna be cerebral. Okay, well I know how players are when I'm guarding them, and I know they're cerebral. Okay, I'm gonna stop. They might be a little quicker than me, but I know they're not gonna do certain things because I get like eventually you get more footage on folk and you can figure out. All right, well this is how they like to play. This is the thing. So I just want to see his progression, his tendencies. I know he's a solid IQ player. So I personally might go Caruso because of that business stance that you were talking about. I think end of day, I can probably find somebody. If we're talking about 100 M's, I can find somebody who's better than Austin Reeves
Yeah.
because I can get that two-way ability from somebody at 100 M's that also give me 20 a game. You can talk about the IQ and all that stuff, but personally, I don't view Austin Reeves as better than like the starter. I don't see him as the third option on the championship team, but that I could be wrong. I don't know everything. He proved me wrong a little bit this season, so we'll see how it shakes. But I just wanted to ask that because again, I got some fellas who like at least I got one boy who loves himself some Austin Reeves. So I just wanted to ask that. I was just curious. I didn't know if I was crazy or not. But fellas, I greatly appreciate this. I appreciate y'all coming on the show. Chris, you already know how this. So you already know how this goes. So and you already gave people some thoughts later on at the end of the show on AMP. So Josh, you got anything you want to say before we close up shop?
Nah, man, I'm just glad to be here and pitching my thoughts and efforts when I can.
Nah, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. You're definitely more than welcome to come on the show anytime. If you ever got some topics you want to talk about, get off your chest, feel free. You're more than welcome. With that, ladies and gentlemen, hope you all enjoyed it and tune in next time. Take care.
Oh, I did not know you guys were still here. As you can see, we're at the back end of the show. No pun intended, but look, hope you all enjoyed it. And before you go, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the IG account, share the content to anybody who's anybody. And most importantly, leave your thoughts and comments below. But I got to go back and play Buddy in 2K, so let me unmute him real quick. Excuse me. Hey, boss, I'm back. Nah, you better catch this word. You know we get buckets around here, too.